Today on Design Santa Barbara, we are in Los Angeles, California with my dear friend Susan Shand and world-renowned artist AmericaMartin. We are in her beautiful studio, airy, big, and amazing. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate it. So our viewers love to know about you. Tell us a little bit, where have you been born? What inspires you? Why so beautiful your art is? Why is it you think so much in demand?
Oh my goodness, well that's very flattering. My name is AmericaMartin. I'm a painter and sculptor, and I've been in love with art since I was 9 years old. And I get to make things that inspire me and constantly find inspiration in life, and just luckily get to do it for a living. It's a blessing.
So I see you have a lot of movement in your art. You have a lot of color, you have a lot of life happening. Is that you learned it along the way? Did you have a special teacher taught you this, or comes from within?
Gosh, I guess every artist has their thumbprint, something that's inanely their own. But I've been inspired for years by the Impressionists. And the Impressionists, they broke away, as many people know, from the more classical, dogmatic kind of art forms to find that the sky isn't blue but 7 different shades: lilac, greens, reds. So looking for movement and color has always been something that I love to do.
Yeah, I've loved your work, as you know, for so long now, and we're so glad this is our field trip down here to see your actual studio. What I've noticed mostly about your work is that every piece of art that you do seems to come alive, that there's a story. So, and you know some of the pieces that I've gotten from some of my clients that love it. So tell us a little bit about some of the places you've gone to, because I know you've traveled to the wine country for a period of time, and we have a wine series that you ended up working from. Right. So maybe talk about that for a moment, if you can.
Well, being someone who's inspired by life, generally people, I do love to go to specific places to find more focused interests. So definitely I've gone to the wine regions in California and around Italy, because you see these lands that people have to tend for years and years and years. I can't imagine being a winemaker. My goodness, what patience that is. Because you create something and then you don't even get to see it come alive until it's, you know, sometime, what, 20 years, 5 years? I mean, yeah, that's so cool. So I love focusing on areas that I'm inspired by and doing like an entire series of that as my own study. It's something that it's almost my diary of as my interests go. And I go from, you know, literature to music and other fine artists, and it's really fun to then see bodies of work that have elements of that constant exploration.
And it shows, and your work is so passionate, which is what I love, and we've gotten so much joy out of seeing that in many of the homes that have your work placed in our clients' homes. And it also speaks to, your stories speak to the people themselves that own your pieces. My husband and I are lucky owner of this piece, which we love so much. I mean, you could talk about her and him. Is that what the name of this is?
Yeah.
So this personally reminds me of myself and my husband. So thank you for this joy that it gives us every day.
Well, that's really cool, because when I love a piece of artwork, I like to imbue my own interpretation on it. That's why I often title things very simply, without a lot of descriptive narratives, if you will, because I think it's very important for the viewer to find and create their own story.
And you speak so well in your poetry. We noticed, Michael, that the last piece in the field, that piece that one of my clients just purchased, you did a poem around that. So I know at some point, I think we're going to want you to read your poem, or I don't know, is that going to be embarrassing?
No, why not? But when I was a small child, my grandmother, she was an English teacher, and she lived in Santa Barbara her whole life. Well, the latter part of her whole life, which was quite a long spell. But she would read me poetry instead of children's stories before going to bed. So poetry is like my breakfast cereal. It does gives me all those weedy strengths or something.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So my other question would be, I've seen few of your paintings with Susan, and as well as I've seen few around. Every one of it is kind of happy. You see a lot of, very interesting, that a lot of people paint, but you look at it, as you said, it could be like a blue, could be like, sad. Your paintings are happy, and they have movements in it. And do you paint that from a model, or is that from your brain, or is it, how do you do that?
Well, that's very kind, first of all. I generally do have a few friends that pose for me. That's why a lot of the figures look very similar. But I have to say, Pollyanna-ish, that I am tend to be a very happy person. I enjoy trying to cultivate happiness in my own life, and as opposed to blueness. And I know that when I look at art, of course there's art that has more macabre undertones, and that's, that's great, but I personally turn to art in the way people turn to a bouquet of flowers.
I love that.
So.
And you actually can see that. You see that in all of your pieces.
Beautiful. It reflects your personality, which is good. And I like that. When you bring happiness, why not?
Absolutely.
And the sense of humor, because I find so much sense of humor in so many of your pieces. Not the ones that are very serious, because those, but even those, you're something about the eyes, and we'll talk about the eyes in your portraits as well, but like the boy on the bicycle,
right.
Upside down, and just things like that. I know that it makes people happy to have your piece in their home, because there's something fun
right.
about that. It's not so serious. So
yes.
maybe talk about like that humor that you try to add in some of your pieces.
Well, seriousness is serious, and I think there's lots of times that you have to be serious, crossing the street, I don't know, getting a mustache trim, I don't know, but not for art for me. I like capturing a slight nuance that reminds you of to not be so serious. And I really enjoy being reminded about not serious things through other people's art.
So what I've noticed about much of your work, it seems, and if it embarrasses you, I apologize in advance, that your eyes are so beautiful. And when I look at many of your portraits, even the animal portraits, somehow it seems that I see your eyes in there, So do you put a piece of you or part of you in your work?
Oh, well, I guess this would be a little bit embarrassing but are you familiar with the Flemish painters?
Yes.
So they have a lot of religious images where they have the Mother Mary and the different angels on either side, and if you look closely you see that each figure has similar features, a long nose and a little bobble bit at the end, and I always interpret that that's probably what the artists look like. So although I do have a few friends that always pose for me and they tend to have similar features, I guess that you end up putting, unfortunately or fortunately, regardless.
Fortunately.
In your case, I would say fortunately.
Yes. So my other question is, we heard you write poetry, which is great. We would like probably to hear that. And we know you do different medias. You do sculptures, you do painting, and so on. Maybe you can tell our viewers what kind of materials you use and what kind of art you produce.
Oh, yes. So with painting, I paint on generally raw and stretched canvas with oil and acrylic. And generally oil and acrylic don't like each other, but I love the way they kind of fight for their own plateau on the canvas. They sort of break apart and become crackly, and so I usually use a varnish which sort of mummifies them for all time. And I really enjoy that texture. And then I work on paper, and I also weld and sculpt with plaster wood, and pushing the 3 dimensions is always a real fun adventure for my mind after being flat, flat.
Is there a favorite? Or does it change?
What I haven't done yet, for sure.
What's coming?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's exciting. I have
Yeah.
something more to look forward to. Yay!
So we're going to go on a commercial break. When we come back, I would love it if you could give us a tour of your studio.
Absolutely.
Love to. We will be right back. I am Michael Kourosh, and my passion is helping you create the home of your dreams at the lowest possible price. If you or anyone you know has just purchased a home or reinventing a living space, we have whatever you need right here. We founded Santa Barbara Design Center to give our community a place where you will always find an open door, a friendly smile, and fabulous prices on rugs and home furnishings. Come to 410 Olive Street to see the latest in design, and let's start this journey together.
Welcome to Rugs & More. We provide the West Coast with the most comprehensive collection of new, oriental, and antique rugs. Rugs are solid art investments and often become cherished family treasures. Our limitless inventory will warm up your home. Exotic or traditional, tribal or modern, our rugs weave stories through intricate patterns, compelling colors, and touchable materials. #1 in Santa Barbara for over 20 years. Visit us today at Rugs & More, 410 Olive Street in Santa Barbara.
Welcome back to Design Santa Barbara. Today we are in Los Angeles visiting the world-renowned artist AmericaMartin with my dear friend Susan Shand, and she's kindly given us a tour of her amazing studio. Here are a couple of pieces of your fabulous art. Maybe you tell our viewers what is this about and how you do.
Sure, absolutely. Well, these are sort of a collection of things that are in progress. This is the only one that's finished at the moment. But you can see that I begin with blocks of color, more in a sculptural way, and then the line, which I always come back to, comes on top of it. And I like to work with oil and acrylic on canvas. So in this piece, I had put blocks of color down, and it always changes. So originally, the curve of the back I thought would be more up and down straight, but then when I was done and ready to put the line on, I was like, no way, it's got to be more curvy. So it always is in flux and changing, and I really enjoy that part because I think that when you get a set idea about something, it can get very wooden, and I like giving the opportunity for things to be always in movement. Floating and changing. And what do we do with this too? This looks like a beautiful rider on a regal horse. Regal, yeah, this is a cowman on a cow horse, and he's waving howdy. This one's not finished yet, but just putting the underpainting, and you know, obviously I've let it go for a couple days and working on other things, but I like to bounce around between many different images at a time because it takes a lot for the paint to dry. So then I move to something else, and then by the time I come back, I've forgotten what I was doing, and it reminds me, and it's
fresh against new again, and there are your eyes that I was talking about, and there are your eyes.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah, and this is a figure with some plants, fauna, blossoms, branches behind her. But yeah, the oil you have to work very quickly because it dries. Oil dries very slowly, but because of the acrylic, it dries very fast. But so I leave things in the middle and come back, and I don't know, it's fun.
And you do incorporate nature a lot. It seems almost in all of your works.
I'm a huge green thumb. I have a big garden. I love to plant things, and plants really make me cheerful. So, and also, I feel that the human form is almost like a beautiful vine. It's always changing. It's everyone's different, and so I like to incorporate those two elements together for sure.
I love that. Poetry in your pieces and poetry in your writing. It's just a win-win.
She's very gutsy. Yeah. She has a lot of colors that they're happy and stick out. I especially see a lot of oranges, which is unusual to see in the art actually.
Oh, really?
I like orange personally, and I see a lot of oranges. It's funny to me, but I love it.
Nice.
All right, so we know you were born in California, Southwest, and you have a lot of themes that correspond to Southwest. I see there's rider out here and the cowboy. Maybe you explain to our viewers what inspires you being born in the West.
Well, there is a lot of living in California, you find that people come here with tons of aspirations and hopes and dreams, and they leave other places to come to California to make those things happen, to see if they can pull it off. And I think there has to be something said for that, that California exists as this place where people are throwing everything in towards a dream or a goal. So it's very often that you can meet someone who's doing two different things, but full-time doing something else. And I think that speaks to the nature of Los Angeles and California, and there's an energy there. So the idea of the Wild West, of the Southwest themes, of a writer coming out to the desert and claiming his own, I think is a very romantic and real notion. So it's fun to touch on them every now and then.
So would you mind showing us more of your studio?
Absolutely.
All right, please. Okay, so we are in front of this beautiful painting of yours, and explain to our viewers, what is this about?
This is a tabletop painting, meaning it has things that I like to see on a tabletop. So this is a bust and a vase of very army flowers, and another jug with some irises, a guitar, and another plant with a long vine, a water jug, and a little selection of some of my favorite authors. So you've got Emerson, Neruda, Shakespeare, Whitman, and then two of my friend poets that are Kahn and Susskind, Mandy Kahn and Jacqueline Susskind. They're current poets, so I'd like to keep them in there and give them a little shout out.
Now we know where your poetry love comes from.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You said your grandma was singing your poetry, well, instead of other people reading their regular books.
Yes, yeah, well, she was an English teacher, so literature was one of her meat and potatoes.
Beautiful that your mind said that. So tell us about this one. This is one of the biggest paintings I have ever seen.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
There's so many more things for you to see then. This is it's actually a man with a lasso on a donkey. That's
Is
what
that
it
a
is.
donkey? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a little bit
Where
nervous on this thing.
What area was it when you painted this particular piece? Were
Yes.
you Northern California? What made you? I know you work with the working people. You love the common man, and I've
Yes.
seen that in all of your works, and it's just so heartfit. This particular piece, does that fall into any of that genre, or
I
not
wish
so
it could
much?
be so romantic and I could say so, but no, this is actually, this is Don Quixote's sidekick.
Oh, love it. Okay.
It's my rendition of Pancho. So it was just one of those things. Sometimes when you're working on a series of pieces and you get a little not stuck, but what will I do now? Where will I go? Sometimes you've got to, break away and do something completely other. So this is an other.
That's fabulous.
And there's
so,
a fun sense of humor.
yes, it is an
Right.
beautiful counterpart to that. Very nice. You said you have bigger ones?
Oh, well, of course. I mean, I haven't painted a painting yet that's big enough.
Oh my goodness, love to see some bigger ones.
Let's go look at that wall.
All right, so let's go see that one, and we would love to see you at work, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Appreciate
let's
it.
do
All right. This week on Michael's Minutes, we are going to talk about sectionals. At Santa Barbara Design Center, we will custom build a sectional to your specifications at our factory right here in California. No room is too big or too small. Our line of comfort sectionals are built to the exact size and shape you need for your room. Let you and your family enjoy the luxury of angel hair wrap, the most comfortable seating in the world. Choose from multiple colors and stain-resistant fabrics that can withstand children, pets, and spills. But don't just take my word for it. Come into Santa Barbara Design Center at 410 Olive Street and feel the comfort of a new sectional for yourself. We live in one of the most beautiful locations in the world. I've raised my kids here. I love it here. What we offer at Santa Barbara Design Center isn't just furniture. It's a chance to turn a house into a home. What may look like a deal online, it's very different when it shows up. It's something to be said for feeling it before it becomes part of your life. We are here to help guide you through this wonderful process. We are Santa Barbara Design Center. Come start your journey with us.
So these are some words that Heidi from the Elizabeth Gordon Gallery had asked me to put down about a piece that recently sold. It's called Day in the New Field, and I often write poetry about certain pieces, but not all pieces. Blue lines stripe back and forth, up and down, in the middle of an image of two workers on a large canvas, a man and a woman, showing that the start of the work began in the early bloom of morning. The lines continue on the outside, now white, telling that the work went from the morning into the heat of day. Beneath their feet, tools in rich brown dirt. The ever-yielding earth arched turned over and over, the proof of their labor.
America, I want to thank you so very much for having us in your beautiful studio, and it has been a treat for us. You paint, look at your wonderful paintings, and our viewers probably enjoy them more than ever. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Beautiful.
And I've been so lucky to have found you in Santa Barbara, which actually was your first gallery.
That's right.
And so I would love, so here I was walking along on Gutierrez and Elizabeth Gordon Gallery, and there's Heidi in there, but actually on the outside was what drew me in, which was your beautiful piece. And I walked and I said, who is this artist? So tell us a little bit about how how difficult it is as an artist to actually show your work, and then how you found Elizabeth Gordon Gallery.
Right, it is difficult to get your art into galleries as an artist, but it's one of those challenges that you have to put yourself out there, and it always changes when galleries, they want to see work this way, or they only want to be introduced to your work through someone who is already sold your work or referred by your work. But I had sold my works independently before, and then I was in Santa Barbara just on vacation and saw the gallery and liked what was in the window, and got off my bicycle and went in, and I had just built a website, and I wrote down my website and put it in on the table, and the next day Heidi and her mother, Gail Ferguson, called and said, come bring some stuff. So I brought a bunch of stuff up, and it was amazing. They really gave me my first break of taking work that I had and professionally stretching it, framing it, and then giving me my first solo show. The Elizabeth Gordon Gallery taught me everything about this is how you walk, this is how you do it, and have been so supportive that over the years that they're family.
That's wonderful.
It's really too lucky to know.
And now you're everywhere. You're in hotel lobbies and restaurants I see in Santa Barbara and all over, which is fabulous. And
Thank you.
My lucky clients' homes.
Thank
and
you.
my home.
Thank
so
you.
thank you. No, thank you.
That's very kind of you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And we also have a limited edition book of yours, and that is also available at the Elizabeth Gordon Gallery, we want to say, and it's beautiful. Actually, I was looking
Thank
through it,
you.
page through it. It's just, if people cannot afford the painting, they can afford the book. And we encourage people to go see your art at downtown Santa Barbara, not that far away, and enjoy it.
Thank you
Again,
very much.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks for coming to the studio.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for being on our show.
Thank you.